Going live. Doo-doo-doo. All right, and welcome. We are now live. This is Gray Stage number 218. That's all. We've done a few of these in the past before. And Sophia and also William Rail is going to join us here today. We're going to go over some of the parallels between the script, the crime scene, and the documentary. Now, we had recorded something because we had started this, and we ended up going about an hour just on the first topic here, the demonic presence slash occult in the script. So I kind of got I think I got everybody kind of off track and just could not get off of this one point here. So we never really made it past that point. Um, I have written an article if anybody wants to get caught up on that. So you can go to thegraystage.wordpress.com. At the very top, you'll find the paranormal phone recordings, and you can always just go ahead and check that out. Read that, and then you can listen to the bonus show that was meant to be a show on the parallels. And like I said, we ended up just talking about the paranormal phone recording. So if you want to get caught up, you can go ahead and read that. Listen to the Gray Stage podcast, new episodes every month. You can check out bonus show number 14, and that will cover about, it looks like it's about 73 minutes. And like I said, we got through one topic. So we're going to try to keep it to about 1 hour, maybe a little bit more. We'll see, depending on time, schedules, and the way that life grabs us. And then we'll kind of go from there. So, how's everybody doing? Sophia, William, how are you?
Doing great. It's Friday.
It's Friday. That's right.
Well, how are you?
Did we lose Will already? That didn't take long. All right. I'm sure he'll be back. He'll be back joining us here. I'm going to go ahead and just open up the YouTube for anyone that wants to kind of watch on there. We are live right now. Very little notice, and we can blame that on Sophia. There's no reason we're going to blame it, but hey, we got to blame somebody. So you're here,
I
and
forgot.
William isn't, so there you go. It's all your fault.
It's been a really long week. Okay.
Nevertheless. So you have created this document. Thank you for sending this to me. I believe there are 29 points here. Let's see how many we can cover. Before we get to point number 2 through 29, anything that you want to say regarding point number 1, which is this occult presence that is mentioned in Eric Nelson's film, A Gray State?
Well, just a quick correction. It was Catherine and I who created this.
Okay, you and Catherine. Okay, so we can blame her too for any errors that we have here. Great. I got two people I can blame. Sounds good.
And for point number one, the demonic presence and cult presence in the script,
Mhm.
uh, basically about what the article stated, and I guess more like metaphysical type presence in regards to the recordings that happened at the end of August and then again at the end of October.
Okay.
Interesting that they both occurred at the end of the month. Um, William said that he'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay. It's all right.
And so when I talk about metaphysical or occult presence or even maybe demonic presence, this is about the voice asking or telling Camille that it wants her to come with it. And I guess like the rapture video or the prophecy video, and then the voice that happened while her and Ronnie were in Ronnie's bedroom that one day painting their nails. And very interesting recordings. There's a lot to unpack with those. So definitely read Greg's article because you really did a great job covering that whole topic.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Um, I've been wanting to do it for a long time, actually, and finally had the time to do that. Switch my mic. Testing out my new mic here, so we'll see which one is good, which one is bad. And we
I
are
like that
live.
one.
I like this one a lot better. Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
We are live here. So today is May 14th, 2021. So I will make sure to keep the chat room open in case anybody has anything they want to say in the chat. Thanks everybody who is here in our live chat room as well. I'm sure William will have some things to say on point number one, but we're going to jog right on into point number two, talking about jogging in the dream. The documentary, there is a guy jogging, not even David. This is inserted several times throughout the documentary, just as it is in the script. Yeah, and that's where my little voiceover part comes in, talking over that guy jogging. It's like, why would they put my voice over this guy jogging? I didn't understand the jogging thing, first of all. I think it was,
I
I thought it was David. I thought they used all of his footage or something. I don't know.
I honestly don't know if it was him or not. And it was just very interesting that they had done that. And then after I read the 2013 script, I was like, oh, that's where that came from.
Because there's a jogging
And
scene in there.
yes, in his dream, he's jogging. And so that's where the whole mist is coming from. They're
Ah,
trying to make it seem dreamlike.
so that was a
Well, it's not
dream.
even a dream. It was like a nightmare type dream thing.
Okay.
I don't know. It's hard to explain. The script is hard to explain.
It is. There's points
Uh,
where I'm not sure what's a dream and what isn't.
yeah, but that was a dream, and then it happens again later on in the script. Oh gosh, it's been a month since I've read it. Uh,
With the pipe.
and yes, the pipe. And then the pipe comes into play again when Kelly goes to find the items that they buried, and it's by a pipe. So
She's also
I
killed with a pipe, right? They smash her
yes,
head open with a pipe or something at the very end.
she is.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I mean that plays throughout the script too. So that was interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a very disturbing
He does,
part.
yeah, yeah. He does a lot of foreshadowing
Mm-hmm.
throughout the whole thing,
Okay.
and so, but yeah, that the jogging scene. You're reading it, and you're right. It's hard to tell what is actually real for the script, like when he's awake and when he's not awake.
Yeah, because
And
there's one scene where he's taken prisoner, for lack of a better term or whatever, but he's taken prisoner. He's in this cage, and all of a sudden, the John Wink character is in there with him, and they're talking,
mhm,
and then they're somewhere else, and they're running or they're jogging or they're. I'm just like, what? Where did he come from? Is he like a shapeshifter, a time traveler? Can he walk through? I don't know. I was really confused by the John Wink character, which is Danny August Mason's character that is
mhm,
in this script. It's in the 2013 script, but not in the 2014 script. I even his last name. It's the same first name, I believe, but it's John. Or is it? No, no, it's not. It's Daniel Walker. Daniel Walker is the main
mhm.
character in the 2014 script. Okay. Yeah, so he's gone. He's
Yeah.
completely out.
And so, like, you're reading the script and you don't even know if he's a real person in the script because a lot of the time he just kind of just is in the scene, but not really.
Hmm.
You can't tell if he's like part of a hallucination or whatever it is that Daniel's having. I'm pretty sure that the movie would have told a better story, and the script is just kind of a synopsis. But anyway,
I would hope so. Um, so we're gonna go here to the June 2nd, 2013 script. If anybody wants to download that, um, we now have that thanks to a team effort, I believe by William and by Sophia, if I remember correctly. You guys were able to
yep,
help us kind of piece this, so we could get this up there. And also special thanks to the person who posted this into the group, Yolandi,
absolutely,
if I remember, Yolanda. Thank you definitely for posting it into the group. We felt like there was something weird about the links, maybe some malware or something like that, but we definitely wanted to make sure that people would have access to it before it got taken
especially
down, right?
yeah, because it disappeared pretty quick. But not,
That's right.
I was quicker.
You were quicker. They were fast, but we were faster. All right, so there is that. Let's go down to point number 3. Eric in the script. The Eric character is not really in there that much, is it? If I remember.
No,
So,
it's not actually. And I was trying to. He was a reporter, I believe, either a reporter or manager of the station. Did I not add a? I I could have sworn I added page numbers, but I guess not.
could
No,
be.
okay.
Oh,
No, that I'm talking. I'm confused. I'm sorry. Sorry to everybody.
okay. It's okay.
Just the Eric spelled with the K in the script, and then there's the Eric Nelson, and for the documentary director, and I don't know, just seeing the parallels.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't use this script to make David look crazy, but I guess that would have been a hard sell.
Hmm
It was definitely a hard sell with that sloppumentary. So GNN number 4. Oh, sorry. Do you had something? Go
hmm
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
GNN reporter. We're looking at item number 4 here of the parallels. GNN reporter in a newsroom. Tom Lydon, AV News, Apple Valley News, and how he fades in and out throughout the doc. Now, the GNN News, obviously, anyone who's seen the 2012 trailer, the Gray State 2012 movie trailer, will know exactly what that is. Do you remember what GNN stands for? Global News Network?
Global News Network.
Okay, which is obviously a play on CNN. I mean, that's really what it looks like, the CNN scroll, and pretty much is the same thing. Oh, what
I
was
think
the?
it was also a play on globalism too.
Okay, all right. Because I know Alex Jones was a part of GCN News, and I wonder if that was
Hmm.
kind of a throwback to Alex Jones and everybody who has worked at the GCN network. We know who you are.
Yeah.
So this GNN reporter and a newsroom, which is similar to Tom Lydon. Now, are all of these points talking specifically about the 2013 script, or are there some points in here that may be relevant to the 2014 script? I want to make sure I
No, this
get
is
that right.
all focused on the 2013
Okay,
script
okay, great.
uh, with the documentary and the official narrative.
Okay,
And one of the things that I wanted to point out was the GNN reporter in the newsroom. They also kind of drift in and out of the script, just like Tom Lydon did throughout the documentary.
hmm, okay, that's interesting.
So,
Um,
and
Anything else
shall we go?
on the Tom Lydon?
Uh,
And there's so many characters in this script too. I think that's the other thing. There's so many characters, and I didn't. Some of it was hard to follow just because of how many there were. I can see why they were. Why the Michael Entertainment Group thought that this might be better as a TV series, because when you have a lot of characters like this,
absolutely.
you have
Yeah.
a lot of room to do a lot of things. So maybe they were onto something there. They were definitely onto something. I think, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Absolutely.
I don't know what your thought is on this, but I kind of think, regardless of what our view is on the script or what David did, blah blah blah, um, what do you think the possibility would be that if David hadn't made this deal, that he would still be with us today?
Uh, that's a great question. I never even thought about it.
Yeah, I just thought about it right now myself. So I figured I'd put you on the spot so I can think about
Uh,
mine.
I think no matter what David did after cutting ties with certain people,
Hmm.
this might have been what happened to him was probably fated
Hmm.
after cutting ties,
Interesting. Okay.
unfortunately.
That could very well be. Could very well be. Who knows? Um, so let's see. Okay, I think number five, I think we had brought that up in the last show, the number five, the occultism, the dark anti Christian discusses Babylon. I believe we did kind of, that would be tied to point number one, most likely. Um, there is a lot of anti-Christian stuff in the 2013 script, in my view, with no Christian payoff.
There,
David being a Christian, I did expect more. Now that's not. I mean, that's just
and
me. That's what I think.
I think the reason for that is because with globalism, they're trying to do away with Christianity and do their one religion. And so I believe that is the main reason why there's not a lot of focus on that and very anti Christian information in there from the, the antagonist of the script.
Hmm.
Just
Okay.
that's my opinion. I mean, others might have something different to say in regards to that.
Yeah, and if there is anybody in the chat, we have five people in the chat right now, at least from what I can see here. If there is anybody in the chat that has any views on the 2013 script or on the 2014 script, or if you've noticed anything that has sounded similar between the script, the story, the documentary, the crime scene, all of that, definitely let us know, and feel free to add any comments here. Or if you're catching this on a replay, feel free to add this in the comments that you'll find later on too. So, yeah, because there's a lot of big talk about David being a Muslim. He wasn't or a Christian. He wasn't a Christian. Kamel was a Muslim. She converted to Christianity. She was, she died as a Muslim. It's just I've heard everything. I've heard all of it. I don't know really how relevant any of it would really be, to the layperson. I mean, as a Christian, for me, it's like that definitely. I can't take my bias and my thoughts about Christianity out of this case, especially when I see a lot of this stuff here. When I can read the scripture and see that there are a lot of dark forces, there are real anti-Christians, there are real anti-Christ forces. That stuff does happen, and it makes me wonder if how much of David's script, how much of this story is based on things that he's studied, or based on things that he's gone through, or people that he's known that have gone through some of these weird things. It's hard for me to believe that what we're seeing in the 2013 script just kind of popped out of David's head, or even Danny Mason's head, or whoever was involved in this whole writing process. There's just a lot of weird stuff here that just doesn't seem random. It seems very pointed, very cryptic, and it's meant for a certain audience. It's a horror movie in some cases. I
Yeah.
I kind of compared it to, think of the 2013 script as Stephen King. Think of the 2014 script as Tom Clancy. That's kind of the way that I've come to the conclusion of how these scripts read.
And I think that's pretty accurate. I'm still haunted to this day about with certain parts of the script.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
So
Not something you want your kids to watch. The InfoWars parallels both the script and supposedly in David's life. Okay, let's talk about that.
but uh, It was just brief, but they did talk about like the Infowars sticker that was on the bumper. It was like a bumper sticker on the
Hmm.
back of a car, and I think there might have been like maybe watching it. I'm just guessing off the top of my head right now. I do remember the bumper sticker because I was writing this as I was reading the script
Hmm.
and putting the notes down.
Oh, good, good.
Oh,
And there are some page numbers that I do see here
correct.
as we look at some other of these numbers. Just talking about that bumper sticker, there was a 9/11 Truth bumper sticker in the 2014 script. So it's like the Infowars sticker that was here in the 2013 script got replaced by a 9/11 Truth sticker in the 2014 script. Just throwing that out there. We may have William back here on the line. Is that correct?
Hello.
All right, you are
Hi,
Hello.
Will.
back. Welcome.
Hello.
That was all part of our plan to just so we could sit
Oh,
here, talk bad about you while you
I
couldn't
knew it.
do anything about it.
I
So,
knew it.
yeah.
I had the goosebumps.
So we have actually made it through. We just passed point number 6. I don't know, William, if you have the points up in front of you. If you want to
I'm
go
pulling them
back,
up right now.
okay. If we're about to start on point 7, so if you have anything you want to say on point 1 through point 6, we just briefly went over point 1. We noticed that point 5 is pretty much tied to uh, point 1 too. So
Which one? Point 0.5?
yeah, point 5 and point 1. Point 5 probably could have been in point 1.
Added?
Yeah, it could have been added to point 1. So
Yeah.
Greg, why don't
yeah,
you ask William that question?
which question about David?
Yes.
Oh, okay, William, I'm going to ask you a question here. Do you think that if David had not made this Hollywood deal, do you think he would still be with us here
Absolutely.
today?
Without doubt.
There we go. And I'm curious what everybody in the chat room thinks too. So don't be shy. Feel free to
I
drop a chat if you want.
My thought on that,
Hmm.
just to kind of expand on it a little bit more, is because there's so many parallels between the crime scene. Once again, we can see the statue in his office. I mean, we can go all over this. Even some of the
Hmm.
things that were said about, with the conversation between Daniel Nikasi and what's his face, John Waynick,
Hmm.
about what there are worse things than death. That whole concept.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, I think I actually just spoke about that last night as well. I know I've made a habit of making sure that's mentioned. It's true. It's very true what was put in there. And to me, that part, I also want to go and reiterate, that part sounded like that was something David would have said.
David did say that.
Um,
He
and
said
Yes,
that.
he
that's why.
did.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Sorry.
that just solidifies this even further then.
Right.
So if David's saying something like this, I mean, obviously he put that in the script for a reason. And my belief is because he knew what he was looking into. He knew all the dark stuff that was going on. I think he started like if he was looking at this while writing the script, he probably like in my opinion, I don't think he was well versed until he started really putting the pieces together. I think that's what happened and why we've seen everything in his office the way it was set up because he was really investigating it during 2014. I don't even think he was really investigating it really as much in 2013. I think he was kind of allowing Danny August Mason to do that. I mean, that's just my opinion on it, of course, so but if Danny August Mason wants to debate me on that, hey, I will debate him all day on this. I mean, it's call up, man. Come on. You want to talk supernatural? Let's do this. I could probably out debate you on that pretty much hands down. Come to my Discord, in fact.
That's good.
We'll do that. But no, it's the thing. Like I said, I think that's what was happening. He started noticing all these things kind of going on. Started seeing the connections. Um, Between things that are kind of going on, looking, at the parallels in the Bible with some of the things that he was speaking about, and seeing, okay, this doesn't add up right. Why is this like this? I also think, because I think we've had multiple people also say this, that the script was written by multiple people, obviously, and you can definitely see the clear differences. I think most of the dark stuff, that was definitely Danny August Mason. David's writing, if you look at the 2014 script, it was not nearly as dark, not even closely comparable. So I think, and that's just purely David's writing. So if we're looking at that's David's writing, maybe some Kamel editing and all this, you're seeing it's not very dark. I mean, it's dark, but it's not like 2013 script dark. So
Mhm.
I think, honestly, like I said, with the 2013 script, if that was pitched, I mean, that's what was pitched. I don't think, I mean, that was the one that also got turned down, right?
No, David. As far as I
Or
know,
you never,
David only pitched the 2014 script to the mics.
so that makes it even better here. Then I mean that I think that's also why he also stated that yeah, this would not make it to a Hollywood film because or any kind of series that's Hollywood run at least not in a way it was set up because it's too much like those movies about the Antichrist and things like this, and they're just like as you said, it's like a $5 movie that you'd find at a gas station. So, I mean, if we're looking at it that way, I mean, I think David is well versed on that side of things, and was just like, okay, yeah, no, we're backing off from this way, and we're going to go this way, and this is why we're bumping everybody. I think that's also why there were some issues, because I think that's basically what happening was these Gray State goons were really like, hey, okay, he pitched the 2013 script. In reality, no, he didn't, and they were still under that, and like, oh, they took our story. He didn't take your story. He wrote something different, and you guys were just, not
Yeah,
smart enough to
I
understand that.
do not think that they even knew what the 2014 script was about.
Yeah.
I think that they still thought it was the 2013 script that he pitched and was working on. And that would explain the official narrative to a T.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Well, I
disagree
mean,
on
I mean,
that
this
on
just
that
kind of
one.
goes over.
I think at least Hendrix knew about
Hmm.
the 2014 script. I could be wrong because he could have read it afterwards. He could have read it after
Why do you
David
think
died.
he knew about it though?
Because he told me because I questioned him on try to get some data out of the script because I at that point I hadn't read the script or read anything. So he
Uh,
he gave me the first scene, and what he gave me is pretty accurate to the 2014 script, and that was
He must have
20.
read it afterwards. How
That's
long?
yeah,
possible. Yeah, that's possible.
Do you have a
you're
date
definitely
of
cutting
that
out. It could be
conversation?
me
Or
cutting out. I don't know.
20. It was definitely 2015. Definitely 2015, but I'm not sure. I can find that.
Well, I mean, if he knew about it, I think. I mean, if he like truly knew about it, I mean, like I might have missed everything you said there, so I do apologize for
Sorry.
that. But
It's okay.
um, if he knew about it, I mean, like, was there any specific part that he mentioned that was
Yes,
exclusive to the which part was exclusive that he was talking
the
about
the very first scene.
that we know for a fact was not even maybe in a very first scene.
Yeah, the very first
Okay,
scene.
so he was talking about. Let me bring it up real quick.
I think he even calls her.
Curious.
See, her name
the
is
Afghanistan scene?
yeah, the
Oh,
Afghanistan
the
scene
Afghanistan scene.
with the CIA bitch. I think he said it was a FBI bitch or something. I think he got the FBI and the CIA wrong, but other than that, I think it was pretty accurate. Because that
Well, I
stood
mean,
out to me.
we also got to think about it this way too.
Yeah.
Could there have been? Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a possibility. There was definitely other ways this was set up. I mean, I think there's the possibility that maybe that was one of the original ideas
Hmm.
for how the whole story would start out too. Because I mean, they did bring up the big deal about the Middle East throughout it. So I think is a possibility because I mean, even then, you listen to what Daniel Nakasi spoken about. I mean, I believe he was wasn't he Gulf Storm or something like this? He was in the Middle East, I believe. Could be mistaken, but just when he was a military vet from the Middle East, or like had gone to the Middle East.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll have to review it again, but
Okay.
I don't have the 2014 script in here. Holy crap!
You can go to my website. Go to the graystage.wordpress.com, my friend. You can download that right now.
Yeah, I'm dealing with the Google Drive transfer,
I'm
and
just messing with
it's a pain in my butt. I thought I had everything on there,
That's
but
Google,
no, you have
yeah.
a good point.
That's Google.
Let's throw a little plug in there. We'll call it good. All right, so that'd be the version 6 script, I believe, right?
No, not the version
No.
6. Now, I haven't really. That one's a little. That one, to me, that one looks like a rough draft of the
Yeah.
2014 script, but that could be an after draft too. We really don't know
Yeah.
because it's not dated.
Let's see. Revision. Okay. Yeah, I
I'm
see
not
it.
sure if it was polished, like if it was actually completed,
It didn't
the
look like it
sixth
was.
version.
Right. Yeah. The 6 looks like it was kind of. It looks like a rough draft to me. That's the way I
Yeah,
see
there
it.
was just minor differences. I mean, it looked like the newer one or the revision looks a lot cleaner, for sure. Just even on the first page. But yeah, I mean, I totally think it's possible that maybe that was an initial starting point. Because I mean, with David, I mean, that's going to be something that kind of resounds with him.
Hmm.
And I think with especially trying to go and get the story to go and kind of shoot home, that will be the way to do it. Because if they were to do something like Katrina, for instance, because we know that that was a connection to what's his face, John Wayne.
Hmm.
Um, but I could have sworn in 2013 script that he was a military vet from the Middle East. Which I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I feel that would resound a little bit better, and it would probably. If you look at pretty much any mainstream um, war movie, you know, you get the military vet. It's usually Middle East, where they had
Hmm.
been stationed lately. I mean, the thing is, it's just how it's going to kind of resound with people. People are going to be able to identify a little bit easier. They're going to understand a little bit better. I feel. I mean, you can look back, even like the Transformers movies and these other ones. They don't go, oh yeah, let's go way back to World War II. No, 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 no. They're like, no, Iraq War, Afghanistan, you know.
Right.
So, and a lot of these guys, like for instance, I mean, the only thing they really bring up in those is you got, I don't want to go and put too much plug on the transfers here, but you got one little plug for way in the past, and that was for the villain. But you know, it's like other than that, it's like a lot of movies nowadays. That's all they ever do for the villains. They may get a plug from the past, but the hero and the good guys are always more present. And if there's any kind of military, they're present soldiers or they're like military vets from that time instead.
It's true.
So I think that David is well aware of that. I think that there was definitely some. I think this is definitely a marketing ploy to some degree. Um, he's trying to. I think he saw that was kind of a common theme, especially trying to get this sold in Hollywood. This would make the most sense.
Hmm.
So I mean that's definitely a possibility. So I'm not saying that it's not true that maybe Hendrix knew, but I mean at the same time I think that this could have easily been just the starting for the other one as well.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Just
very
flip out
possible
a
that he
few
could
different
have known
characters.
after the fact,
Yeah,
that
I mean he could have
because
very well
once
just
they
talked to him about
released,
it.
yeah, once they released the drives to Dan Senior, they would have seen everything on there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because that's where it went. It went to Hendrix, it went to Sean Wright, and it went to Eric Nelson from there.
yeah.
So they,
So I mean there's that too. So I mean it comes down to it. I mean yeah, I think it's very likely. But what else? Let's see. What other things can we connect in real quick? Uh, okay, I think we're caught up now.
okay.
I'm good now.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go
Okay.
to point number 7, unless Sophia, unless you have something else.
Uh, Point number 7 is fine.
Okay. Point number 7. Daniel, passionate for freedom, country, i.e., right-wing extremist. David was labeled as a quote-unquote right-wing conspiracy theorist. That's right, and alt-right.
And a gun nut.
Yeah,
Yes, all
Yes,
right.
and a gun nut.
yeah. So I mean, nobody was calling David right-wing anything or alt-right anything, nothing like that, until after he was dead. These guys that were working with David did not make a big fuss about all of the news reports that were calling their dead friend a member of this alt-right faction. No, they were more focused
Yeah.
on us, on making sure that we did not let people know that David Crowley was not guilty. That was their focus. It was not in protecting their friend, in finding the truth about their friend. And that speaks volumes.
Well, I mean, you got to also
They
think too.
already
There's
got their they already got
well,
their 30 pieces of silver. So I mean,
well, there were. I mean, it was also being used as a plug too um, for gun
yeah,
grabs and stuff like this. For gun, that's all it was used for. I mean, he was basically being used for the better term of it, I guess, by the Democrat candidate then, because let's be honest, the right wing is not going to use anti-guns as a plug for, hey, this is what I'm going to do for you guys. No, no, no. The right side's I would say 99.9% of the time they are pro-gun, 110%. So, when it comes down to it, I mean, you got the Democrats almost always as the thing. Not to bring too much politics in this, but when they start using those terms, I mean, we got to call it as it is, So, I think that's all that he was basically being used for. Not to mention, you got those other goons over there that are, that's why they're not defending David. They're like, well, we agree with this person, or maybe they don't, but still, they're not defending their friends. So there's a reason behind it. I'd argue.
Yeah, and I think wasn't the
Because
term right wing even used in the script in the 2013 script, or am I wrong about that?
Yes.
It was. Right?
Yes, that's
yes,
where I got it from.
Okay. Yeah, so that's
So,
pretty interesting.
not to give this person any
and
more
yeah, it was the news.
representation, but I mean, there was that. Yeah. No, you can
The
continue.
news used it, and the antagonists used it a lot throughout the script.
Well, I mean, we also had a real life antagonist also using it in that crime family. So, the one that was running for president, that didn't
Yeah.
make it and blamed everybody else except for her.
Another one who shall not be named.
Exactly, antagonist. Exactly, the antagonist.
Too funny.
She's the real deep state granny, that's for sure.
Thanks, Will.
Very
Now
cool.
she's going to pop up.
Yes. Now we can have our debate. Finally, thank you.
Oh, please.
It's,
Not tonight.
it's an open line.
Okay, number 8.
It's an open line. It's been open since May 8th.
Number 8.
Okay, number 8. Daniel walks away from the dean after the dean gives him an ultimatum. This is on page 12. Okay, so I'm going to go to page 12 here. David supposedly walked away from the deal, quote unquote, a matter of the heart is what he told his dad. We know that it really didn't happen, but that is what we are told. I'm not sure that it really didn't happen myself, but I'm going to go here to page 12 while you guys discuss amongst yourself.
And I want people to understand, I checked the phone records, and Dan Sr. didn't have that conversation with David on his cell phone. It was not through a text. And if it was through Facebook Messenger, the police would have had it in the files because they downloaded everything that David commented on. They downloaded all his messages.
Yep.
It's not there. And it's not in the phone records.
It's curious as to why he would say something.
Yeah, and I even went through the huge PDF records for both the phones just to double check. And it's not there. Most of the stuff that Dan Sr. said that David did, like their conversations, is non-existent. So what were they talking on? Because we know that the police didn't take burner phones. And why on earth would they use apps when they're paying for their own phones?
Right. That makes zero sense.
Yeah, it makes zero sense.
Maybe they had a secret phone.
Right.
They have like a Batman phone. Batman had a phone that nobody could trace.
Bat computer. Let's do this.
Well, and my very last point on this, in regards to the phones, is the electronics crime unit. They could have searched his phone for apps. They could have searched those apps for any types of text or phone calls or anything like that, messaging even. They had that right in their search warrant. It covered it all. But there was nothing there. There's no proof whatsoever. So it's non-existent. Those conversations did not happen.
I definitely have to play devil's advocate on this. I mean, in their defense, and it's the only defense they have here, so I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't buy it either. I think it's BS, and so you get where I stand on this, obviously, but in their defense, they had just started up. Like, I believe this is like one of their first cases. So that being said, I mean, it's like, well, did they hire in some people that just really didn't know what they're doing? Like, did they just, go hire Jim Bob off the street or something? Like, hey, can you work a phone? Yeah, great. I'm gonna bring you in. And all he knows how to do is just look at the contacts. I mean, bringing in idiots. That could very well be what happened. I mean, I haven't really looked at their electronics crime unit that had actually, taken this investigation and actually worked on it. I think that needs to occur. We need to see what their backgrounds are like. Are we talking about somebody that got like a liberal arts degree, or are we talking about somebody that actually went to school to study technology, to actually look at code, to look at, actually look into things a little more? I'd be curious to find. I don't think we're actually going to find anybody that actually had any kind of degree towards that. I think they just basically took probably some police. They just kind of, got a random degree just to go and get a job. I think that's what happened. Honestly, I have no faith in these guys at all. So
you are
but
doubting the Dakota County electronic crime scene
oh,
unit?
absolutely, absolutely. I doubt them all day and all night. Just like AVPD, I doubt every single one of them. I don't think. I mean, at this point, like I said, with this case, they fumbled too hard that I have no faith in them at all. I mean, they obviously can do their job. They can patrol and they can do things, but I mean, they're not. When it comes to their investigations, like we got to see with the Pencock, that was open and closed. Sure, there's still some issues with that case I still have, but that's a different case, of course. But then, of course, you got like this case. Why were so many things like decided upon so quickly? They shouldn't have been. They should have went in unbiased. They went in biased. Electronics crime unit probably did the same thing. They were probably, in fact, they were probably even told, hey, we need to check this guy's stuff. He killed his wife and kids. That's probably what happened. So, like I said, I don't have any faith in them at all. So,
Well, somebody
obviously, we're
did.
the, we're the
They
ones
gave.
investigating this case, and we're the ones who are going to probably solve it before they do. So, it's all good.
Well, it looks
Well,
like
they're not
in.
even investigating it. They have
That's true. See,
no desire to do
but
anything else
yeah,
with it.
I think that at least a few of them know there's got to be some things wrong with this case that they know about. I'm sure. Like, I mean, I'm going to put it this way. Okay, I shouldn't say I don't have any faith in any of them. I have some faith in Gummert. I'll put it that way. I actually have some faith in Gummert here. He does have a decent track record for the most part. But I don't think he's going to come forward. I don't. I don't think he would do it. I think he's basically just trying to wait it out, retire, and move on with his life. I think that's basically what's going on here. I mean, to me, it seemed like there was some hesitation at times with some things, just based on the police reports. I don't know what it is. Just something about it just tells me there was a little hesitation. The way it was written, it just seemed like he kind of hesitated on some things. And you look at like how when he was doing things, it just seems like he was being a little more thorough. But other than that, I mean, like the rest of them, no, I have no faith in any of them. Terrible. And so when it came down to this, with the actual text and stuff, I mean, they obviously weren't doing their due diligence. They didn't go and, hey, can you guys provide proof of this? They didn't. That should have been something that should have been there. There should have been proof that, okay, he did say this. Because if we're looking at something for his innocence, this is something that could definitely show some things. Now, we need to be keeping everything in this completely transparent. That happens with any investigation like this. They have to be very, very transparent and open with everything on this. They can't just come in and be like, okay, yeah, he did this, and instead of just looking at everything, as a whole, let's just look at everything that could potentially prove him guilty. That's it, and that's what it kind of looked like. They didn't look at anything that potentially could have just shown he was innocent. You're not seeing any inconsistencies. At least they're not covering back up. Like for instance, there with Chris Peck, did that conversation happen? No, it didn't. You can see it from the phone records. I mean, just like the way, like for instance, this conversation here. Did this happen? No, it didn't. We have the phone records. We can see this. Why would they use a burner phone? That makes zero sense. Any other app doesn't make any sense. These are points you've already stated, obviously, but it doesn't make sense. And David's a guy that, once again, I mean, I think we've all basically broken this down multiple times. David is a guy that logic, rationality, very, very much on point with that. Everything he did, there was a reason. And you can see that just based on everything he does. He documented everything for a reason. Everything he had said, it was for a reason. So,
Mhm.
and this isn't me just being like, oh, Mr. David fanboy. No, 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 no. I'm not a David fanboy. I think he was all right, but when it comes down to it, it just this is directly what it falls under. It's just like these people did not do their due diligence at all. They didn't hold each other accountable, because any basic investigator, any beginner investigator, could be like looking at this and be like, okay, well, where's the proof this is said? I mean, I know we've had conversations like this. I'm like, well, where's the proof of this? And we send each other links, photos, whatever, to actually
Mhm.
back things up. These guys were not doing this very well, clearly. So, sorry for my rant.
It's okay. It's a pretty
Well, they
interesting.
already had the guilty.
That's
They
true.
just had to
Mm-hmm.
Just had to
keep the
backtrack.
paperwork along those lines, and they just couldn't see the forest through the trees. They just,
Exactly.
they just stuck to that.
Mm-hmm.
When, they didn't bother to double check people and what they said. They didn't look at the financials and say, hey, he wasn't struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, they
There
weren't
was
cross-referencing
one,
at all.
yeah, the house payment that bounce was supposed to be something that David had moved. He was supposed to have moved money over, but for some reason that didn't happen. And as soon as they got
Mm-hmm.
notice of that happening, they made those calls and the money was transferred over. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We've all had its moments. At least I know that I'm not
Yeah, we're
perfect,
human.
and I've had its moments, and I've been like, oh my gosh, I forgot to pay that, and turn around and paid it immediately. Or
Right?
we all get busy, and anyway, he had the
Yeah,
money to pay for it, and that's what happened. It's not like
exactly.
their bank account was zero and they didn't pay it.
Far from zero, actually.
Okay,
Yeah, it's.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
so we know that that conversation is not on any of the phone records, and we know it's not through Messenger because that wasn't included.
Yeah,
So we have no idea if it happened because there's no proof,
very true.
nothing to
Before
back it up.
before we move on to part 9, I just really want to just get this out here. I think we've already covered part 9 through part 7. Oh,
Yes,
sorry, my
the
bad.
worst that
My
they
bad.
could do is kill me. And John says, is that what you think?
Yeah,
And now we see what has happened to David's name, and he has gone down probably in history as an abuser and killing his spouse and his child,
A domestic
yeah,
which
he's,
is
abuser. Yeah.
pretty detrimental
Hmm.
and
to
I mean,
somebody.
oh yeah, I mean at this point, I think whoever's looking at this and like from just kind of a quick look at this is basically viewing him already as like worse than Charles Manson, or at least up there. Um, then that's the thing. It's those people just really investigate, actually do your due diligence on research. Is you can quickly see it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
No, a
It's
lot doesn't add up.
it's all
Oh yeah,
geared
understatement.
towards certain people.
Or you
You
could
know.
just accept the
It's all
official
geared to what?
narrative and what, Greg?
Oh, I was saying it's all
What?
geared
Yeah, what?
towards certain people. You know, it's meant to get certain people that already have a view about soldiers killing
Yeah.
people, that already have this view about, every guy is bad, every guy beats his wife, he killed his
Right.
kid, he's crazy, he thinks that the government is out to get him. All of that. So it's really all of this was just cater made for all of those people.
Hmm.
It seems like.
It's
Oh yeah,
propaganda.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep,
It is propaganda geared for the left.
absolutely. As I call them, sheeple.
Yes, sheeple.
Every single time.
Absolutely.
Bah.
So
Oh,
point nine there, people can look at that. Look at page 33 in the 2013 script and get a better idea. Read it for yourself. It's there. Why not read it?
Read the whole script,
Read the whole
actually.
script.
See it.
It's pretty fascinating. Who knows?
You might have nightmares. You might have nightmares.
Don't read it at
I didn't.
night. Yeah, don't read it at night.
Or in the dark.
Don't read it before bed.
Yeah,
Just
That
don't.
too.
I would
Trust
agree.
me.
Don't read it between 3 and 4 in the morning.
Yeah, that too.
Well, point number 10 here, Daniel calls Kelly repeatedly and gets her voicemail. That's after John meets with Daniel and Kelly is in the court, numerous pages. Okay, one of the GS guys said that David would repeatedly call Kamel's phone and get her voicemail. No evidence of that in the phone records. Who is that? Who is saying that they repeatedly called Kamel's
Wasn't that Hendrix?
phone?
Could have sworn it
I,
was.
I, I couldn't remember exactly who it was, and I just didn't want to name names
Sure,
for the heck of it.
sure.
But I do remember reading it in either a comment on Facebook that they had made, or it was in one of their interviews that they had given after the death.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay.
I want to say that was in that Tom Lydon interview. I don't know why. I want to go back to that, but I think that's where it was at that we got to see Hendrix say that. I could have sworn.
Please don't
He
make
said
me
that.
listen to that
They
again.
repeatedly
Oh no,
called
it's all good. I
Kamel's
mean, I'm pretty sure. I'll go back over it myself. I want to go see, but
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
I don't want to put anybody through any painful, but it's one of those things. I think that's where he had said it. I could have sworn that's where I heard it.
Do you know when Daniel repeatedly calls Kelly? Do you know if that's in the early part of the script?
So
It's after page 33 for sure,
He-
because everything is written in order as you
yeah,
go through.
it's I'm trying.
So it's before page 77, most likely. Between or 49, actually, it looks like. Interesting. Okay.
I mean, it happens pretty quick after page 33. I know that.
And you just keep reading, like he'll pick up his phone and try to call Kelly and pick up his
Mhm.
phone, no answer. And
Which
at
is
that point, she's either in court or she's going through her own little things.
And that kind of looked like a scene in the 2012 trailer where the guy Daniel picks up his phone. Charles Hubble's character, which I do think is Daniel. Basically, he picks up his phone and like he's trying to call Kelly, he's trying to call somebody, and then nothing happens.
I still got to say, I don't think that was the best pick for Daniel. But I mean, that's okay. It's okay. They didn't have the best casting for that, I suppose.
I actually like Charles Hubble. I like there was a couple characters in there.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I just can't see him as a Daniel. I see him more as like that socialist teacher. I can see
Yes.
that.
Yes, which is who this character
Um,
is when he's as the script starts. I didn't even realize Daniel was a soldier probably until about halfway through because they don't really talk about it that much. It's briefly
Well,
mentioned. It's mentioned a lot later on in the script, but not that much in the beginning.
well, I mean, if you look at the way that Daniel's described and the way that, like, I get the same feeling that Daniel Nikasi and Daniel, 2014 script, the that they're the same. They're basically the same character, just different last names. So that's just kind of how I take it. They have different ways of handling things. One's more kind of like uh, I would argue more the intellectual, while the other one's more combat. And that's basically the big differences. But I think like build-wise, I think they're roughly about the same size. All this. So if we're looking at that, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, who fits that bill? Like we've already discussed that before too. David fits that bill. And do I think he would cast himself in that? I think maybe he could have, but I don't think. I mean, maybe he would have, but I mean, I think that if he was, I don't think he would direct his own movie. I think he was gonna go and have somebody else direct it, and I'm just gonna go that route. So I would basically be under like the director, producers, yada 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 for the casting. But I don't know the build. Just like I said, to me it doesn't seem like it would be like that Charles Hubble character would even fit the bill. Which I mean I know that we can see very clearly he is Daniel in that, but it's just he's so tiny, so tiny. I just don't
Never
see it.
never judge a book by its cover, right?
but we can. He's so tiny. He just. Oh, I just don't get it.
Well, let's see here. Okay, going on to number 11. John will mutter a Lakota prayer to dying Winona. This is page 49, okay?
Hmm.
And we're comparing that to Sean Wright and possibly Mason Hendricks. Say that David said that a Muslim forgiveness prayer after he killed Kamel and Rania. Yeah, where did this Muslim forgiveness prayer thing? The first time I heard about that was from Sidra, I think. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and
she was
we
saying
need
that
to find out if it was actually open to the forgiveness prayer. We need
Yeah.
to have confirmation on that.
we should,
Well,
right?
especially
Because
as things were moved.
we have the open page there. Now she was given many pages um, that were bloody, but I would assume that the page that they opened it up to would be the one that they showed her, and I mean, obviously they don't need her to figure out that it is a forgiveness prayer. Pretty sure they could have figured that out themselves. I don't think they're going to wait 3 months to ask her,
I mean,
what
especially if you
that
look at it, it was
is.
English translated.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, all they had to do was look at it and see.
right?
I just find
I
it
mean, it's
very
like, can you
convenient,
read?
or it was just odd that he mutters the prayer, and then they're talking about David doing this forgiveness prayer over the bodies of Kamel and Ronnie. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, how is that not a clear parallel?
right?
What
It's
is
almost like they took the 2013 script and created the documentary out of it.
Absolutely.
what?
That's how I see it.
I'm gonna look up
I
what.
think anybody looking at this case and that has read the 2013 script will probably see these same parallels. Be like, what the hell? What are you guys doing? We see what you're doing here.
And I really do invite everybody in the group, even those who are not in the group, who are listening to this recording right now, to please read the 2013 script, and you will absolutely see exactly what we're talking about. It is the most eerie thing.
Mm-hmm.
You feel unsettled when you finish reading it because you're just like, wow. It
Yep.
it just, once you read it, you'll know exactly why I feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
It is very unsettling.
Well, I'd say out of all the points, this is probably the most eerie because it's so close, just so close to being identical. Um,
Hmm.
my thing is like, I mean, they're quick to jump on. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, Chief Reitzigal. We'll go with that. We'll go Chief R. We're gonna go with that. That's easier for me to say. So Chief R decided to say, yeah, look, we found this, and we think this is him making a jab. And you listen to what Hendricks says. Oh, that was Daniel being, or sorry, not Daniel, David being sarcastic. How is it sarcasm? I mean, that's like morbidly dark. I mean, I would even say like I mean, there's guys like Charles Manson would find that funny, but but I mean, I'd love to ask him that. Do you find this funny, man? You're pretty dark yourself, but um, but I mean, the thing is, I don't see that as sarcasm. I see this as that was just basically them trying to lay out the narrative. Hey, look, he said this, and this is kind of like the entrance in there. This is what they're trying to go and present as like, here's your gateway into the case. You see, he's bad here, right? This is what he did. This is what we're telling you he did. Here's the narrative. Follow this. Now follow these breadcrumbs that we're leaving for you along this route here, and then you'll come out the other end, believing that David did this. But anybody looks around and they, just go into this case like, wait, this doesn't add up. Why are you leading me this way? This doesn't make sense. Why are you stop leading me this way? I'm done looking at you. Or I'm going this way. Yeah, that's directly what happens. I mean, look at how many people have gone from the state doc, or sorry, a Gray State documentary, and they look at this, and hell, they could go to any other group that is looking at this, uh, anybody else looking at this, and talk to them, and they're like, wait a second, let's look at the crime scene real quick. They get a hold of those pictures. What happens now? It just shoots this entire thing in the foot. Do I think he said that forgiveness prayer? No. Do I think that was potentially the book was moved and things could have just pages flipped and things like that? Absolutely. I think this was a staging, full-heartedly. I do believe this is a staging. I don't think relevance. I think really what they're trying to do is force relevance on the submit to Allah. But I think I'm trying to remember who said it, but somebody had recently said in the group that that's something that you don't read that in the Quran. I don't know for sure. I've never read the Quran, but they said it's one of those things that you say, you don't read.
Hmm.
So for him to put that up there, I mean, they kind of made the correlation. At least that's how I read it. At least that it's basically that looks staged, and this is BS. So I mean, that's how I see this. I think this is it's just they're really trying to go and force the narrative is all it is.
Sure looks like that. I was just looking at what some of those prayers are, and it's pretty disturbing. A lock of hair from a departed person was taken and held over a piece of burning sweet grass to purify it. Then it was wrapped in a piece of sacred buckskin, and the sacred pipe was smoked. I don't know.
Yep, yep. And you're
And
Yeah,
talking about the
that
Lakota prayer, right?
yeah, the Lakota prayer, according to this article here.
well, then you read further in the script, and that's exactly what Daniel does with Winona or Wyona. He cuts her hair, and then further on in the script, later on, he then leaves it there at the burial or the cremation site after her body had burned. He comes back and he leaves the hair there, and then you see that there's cut hair all over the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just very eerie once again.
Well, especially if you look at the hair too. Now, if a dog is ripping that out of somebody's head, right? There's pieces there, plenty of pieces there. They don't have a scalp at all. Now,
Mhm.
my thought here is, I mean, it's possible maybe the dog just yanked it out, and a bunch of it got yanked out, and okay, if we're going along with the narrative, then okay, well, but there would still, once again, he would have some stuff all over him. Why wouldn't they check the dog then? That's my whole thing. Check the damn dog, damn fool investigators. Holy shit. Sorry for the language. Just really frustrating because it all comes back to the dog. Let's be honest, always goes back to the dog. You know, uh, they didn't do anything with that dog. They didn't check anything.
They
And so
weren't
if the
supposed
dog,
to.
well, exactly,
Well,
and that's the, they should have checked the dog. That should have been like I think I'm gonna, I'm actually gonna do. I think I'm gonna send this. I'm gonna go and see if I can get in touch with a detective at Portland Police Bureau. More of the competent detectives. I'm gonna go see if I can get one of them to look at this case
uh-huh.
and tell me what their thoughts are on this, because I think any decent investigator will see this and be like, well, this doesn't make sense. Why didn't they have the dog check? This makes zero sense. Why didn't they check the dog poo? Why didn't they check the hair? Was this actually ripped? Was this frayed? If the dog was like ripping on the hair itself, you'd expect some fraying. There was no fraying at all. I mean, I didn't see any, at least. It looked like it was just cut. A lot of it did. So my question is why? And then this is where this comes in right here. Staging.
Speaking of staging, looking at number 12, the Bohemian Grove scene, where the character 6 sees the effigy and realizes it's a body of a child. He draws this conclusion when he sees the exposed ribs. This is page 98. Okay, now that is weird because Rania, a child, had exposed ribs, first through fourth,
Hmm.
with the third rib being fractured. Lots to cover here. Could probably do a whole hour just on that right there, I'm sure.
Well, this is something that I feel like, I mean, I haven't, this is part of the occult stuff I haven't looked at, but I believe the third rib being fractured, I believe that means something. I could be incorrect, but
Hmm.
I'm going to have to look at more of the occult rituals on this. Won't take me long, probably a few days at most. I know I keep saying that about a lot of things, and it's been like a week. I'll try to be better at that. But it's one of those things. I think there's something there because when it comes down to that cult, if we are looking at like not to go and carry too much into the topic we had on one of the last videos, but it was brought up about the Freemasons and all this. I mean, if we are looking at Freemason type stuff, once again, these are people that are huge with numerology. with astrology, numerology, I mean, all sorts of different things like this. So things that they come down to numbers often, angles often. Um, so I think there is some relevance, especially if we're looking at that. Other than that, though, I mean, it's still, I mean, that's eerie when it comes to the comparisons, like the parallels, but also the whole, like, her arm was gone too, which is also like, what the shit? Sorry for the language again. Um, so I think that's a really strange parallel. It's really, really strange. And once again, yeah, as you said, staging. It definitely looks like it.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get past the fact that the Grove is in this script here.
Right?
It took I could not get past that. And once it comes, I think this is about page 98 here. Once this Bohemian Grove scene ends, like I was really thinking that's where the script is going to end. I would have ended it somewhere around there, and it would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. Um,
Right.
because it leaves the door open, and you can almost see. That's why I always thought maybe we have a couple scripts here. He's got a couple stories, and it's fascinating when you think about how much of the 2013 script was incorporated into the 2014 script. I mean, not very much. You got a better
Mm-hmm.
chance of probably dying from COVID than you do of that. 0.9999000 whatever it is, but so make sure people check this script out, and just for any Bohemian Grove researchers, they're coming back this year. They quote unquote took a year off. The Bohemian Club took a year off, and they did not have their annual gathering. They were there, they were on site, but they did not quote unquote have their annual gathering. It was probably more low key. I think they were still doing some stuff in there, but
Oh, well, you know they are.
but
Absolutely.
this year they are back. They're up to their old habits, and that will be July 10th will be the day for the Bohemian Grove. Then it'll kick off then July 10th, 2021, in Monterey, California, and we will have some people down there. Hopefully, we'll have some cutouts, maybe a Joe Biden cutout we'll put right out there. Who knows? You just never know what you'll see there. Maybe we'll have a David Crowley cutout and see how people react to that. Um, so
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about going down this year.
it's pretty crazy. This year should
I'm
be
I'm, I'm thinking
interesting.
about it.
Yeah, I am too. So, anything there? Yes, the exposed ribs are very weird. The fact that it is a child, because even in the
Hmm.
Alex Jones film, it doesn't look like a child's body. It looks more like a adult-sized body. So I found it interesting that in this script here, it is a child's body. They're sacrificing children here in this, not, and they're killing. I mean, this is, and they get power off of this, and
Hmm.
that's why in the very final scene, I don't know if I want to spoil that or not for people or not, but it does tie in. There is something that happens to a child at the very end
Yep.
of this 2013 script that is very similar to what we're talking about. What some people think
And
happens
graphic.
at the Bohemian Grove. Yes. Now, I'm not convinced that they're really sacrificing people at the Bohemian Grove.
Oh, I
Um,
am.
but, you know, I don't know. I have no idea. I can only guess. I can only look at what little we actually know on it, and to say that even if they're just sacrificing a fake human is strange, and to put the all of the care that they put into it is even weirder. So, anyways, anything else on point 12?
Was that a pun?
Yes, there is actually something
Okay.
else for that, and I had forgot to add it into this part only because we're looking at parallels. But uh, later on in the script, Charlotte is speaking with a coworker in the newsroom because she's a reporter for GNN.
Hmm.
She's like the Tom
Hmm.
Whiten character who flows in and out. And they're talking about the burned bodies that were found in cages at the Bohemian Grove after this attack. And so they blamed the the 3%ers
Mm-hmm.
on the deaths of the children when they knew that
Ooh,
it was the Grove
that's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
people who had them and were killing them.
Which is similar to how they blame David Crowley for killing a child when there's absolutely no proof. He may have actually been trying to protect a child and got blamed
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
death of that said child. Interesting.
Correct. And that's what they used to label them as terrorists, domestic terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. All right. And that sets off a whole.
It's funny how this is what they also used to
Yes,
label
exactly.
him as a right-wing conspiracy theorist gun nut
And
and murderer.
father who killed his child
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Which there is some of that
in gun
in
violence.
here too.
Mm-hmm. Tons of hashtags.
So,
Yikes.
okay.
Okay. Number 13, the rapture videos that are mentioned in the script, page 77, mainly because it is mentioned periodically through the script. On David's video, on David's phone, Kamel got raptured today, but she's still here. Now, this has been brought up from the first time that we heard about this quote unquote rapture. So in the script, maybe we can look at page 77. When they're talking about rapture, are they talking about the same thing that is quote unquote considered rapture uh, in
There's
David's phone
several different meanings.
for rapture?
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
one is like almost like zombies type people just zoned out walking around, and I believe that Kelly refers to them as raptured.
Yeah, they're just kind of like on autopilot.
Yes, and then there's others where people just disappeared.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
But they never focused on that. They never explained it. They just said, oh, they were raptured.
right.
And then there was like a metaphysical
Well,
part on the ridge with John,
hmm
and they're talking about the rapture again. Is that page 77 where I
Page
edited him?
79.
Where they're on the
you're
ridge?
talking about when they were like in that.
John
It was like they
79.
were like in an. It almost seemed like it was like either like a dream or some kind of an astral plane.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So I know what you're talking about. Then, yeah, where basically where you see, not to spoil too much, but Daniel goes kind of like full on, black-haired
Got a
lady
mohawk.
on John.
Black hair. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Are you on 77, Greg?
I'm on page 79 of the actual script. Page 77 in the PDF that I have here. So, am I supposed to be
Let's
on
see.
77?
I'm not, I think I went off of the PDF,
Yeah.
but let's see here.
Yeah, it is right here, Bluff
but-
Hilltop. That's right there, the Bluff Hilltop.
Yeah, the rapture videos.
Okay. John looks up.
John looks up into the sky in a way that is reminiscent of the rapture videos. What is he really seeing?
What the heck? Let me go back a little bit and see what proper context they're talking about here. A blunt instrument to make it happen. Jeez. Okay, let's look at.
Yeah.
Let's start it here. It's page 76. The Rubicon perimeter is a cold, clear night in the bluffs. They trudge uphill. Okay, so it's Daniel and John trudging uphill. So is this a real scene, or is this like is this?
No,
This is the
Okay,
astral
this is-
scene
this-
right here.
I-
or the
yeah.
dream
no,
state.
no, it's a dream actually.
This stuff really
Ah.
confused me here. Okay, why'd you bring me here? Daniel says. Are you and Six even on the same side? John kind of explains about Six. Okay, they all want their country back. He may be blunt instrument. Oh, Six is the blunt instrument. Jeez.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so weird. Okay. Daniel, I have to get back to her. In the valley below them, more signs. Gradual collapse emerging. There are tent cities springing up. It's kind of like them looking at that image of the whole cities that are just kind of burning and there's not really much there. But Elba is secure. Hey, look up. A jagged bluff spur is jutting 200 feet over them. What is that? What's a jagged bluff spur? I see this a few times here. I see it. Now there's an image that was part of 2012 Gray State trailer. It wasn't in the 2012 Gray State trailer, but it was right around that same time. And it's an image of all these different people. There's a cop, there's people, people that had looked like they were maybe rioting, et cetera, et cetera. All these different types of people, and they're looking up, and there's clearly chemtrails in the sky. So anytime that I saw them looking up, that's what I was looking for. It didn't really cross my mind that maybe they were looking up for some rapture. Um,
What
what
I
it,
see
Oh,
this is so when you're seeing the age of Aquarius, are you guys familiar with that part? This is I'm trying to remember where I saw this initially. I know a lot of spiritualists are talking. They've talked about the age of Aquarius. Um, I believe this guy on YouTube I watched. Sorry to go and give him a plug as well, but the Jacob Israel. Have you guys ever heard of him?
mm-mm, no.
yes.
Okay, so so he talks. I believe he actually talked about the age of Aquarius, and it was this like new age we're moving into. We've like we had like back in like I believe when the pyramids were built, we were in the age of Leo, and it basically goes to the zodiac sign essentially.
It's a
It's
popular
just basically
song.
it's like a galactic. Yeah, but the thing I mean I've listened to the song. The song is it's funky. It's funky. I'm not a huge fan of it. It kind of weirds me out. Way too hippy dippy for me, but that's the point. Uh, um, it's very much I think that's what they're hinting at here because you even see Hum's Age of Aquarius. You listen to what that song is saying. It's very much I think that's what he's getting at here. Is you see John, he's a soldier, but he's very very spiritually aware about all these other things. He's spiritual, right? And while Daniel is not a spiritualist by any means, he's trying to go and figure out what these things mean that he's been having to deal with his whole life essentially. These little um, effigies and all this, these little totems. So,
Which is what they talk about, which is interesting when you think about when the thing happened with Kamel. From what the documentary says, from what Danny August Mason
yeah,
says, David Crowley went to him. They went to Danny August Mason to kind of figure out what was going on there with Kamel. Pretty interesting stuff. Um,
yeah.
Rapture
Well,
videos. That's
you
just
guys know what that song is talking about, though, right? Just to be clear.
the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, that's
There's
exactly
just
it.
a bunch of
So I
like,
got the lyrics pulled up just to go and basically points in part. It's just all about a planetary alignment, and which forms the zodiac sign of Aquarius.
oh,
So,
okay,
yeah,
pretty
it's
interesting.
well, it doesn't form it, rather it moves into that. Right, it's still a little confusing to me, but I know it's basically it's kind of like it goes in a rotation through these planetary alignments, and we're in this age for so long, and then we move into another one, and we move into another one.
Hmm.
So, yeah, spiritualists.
Spiritualist. It is weird. It's also interesting that he actually mentions Christ. I know he uses it in vain, technically, but might be one of the only mentions of Christ there.
Right?
Um, okay. 13.1. The script Daniel is in another state of consciousness, and his euphoria is like the rapture. Page 161, and that's compared to Kamel talked about the rapture, but they were still on Earth. Okay, so page
And then
161.
how she sounded and everything. Very
Mm-hmm.
emotional, euphoric also. So it's very interesting because, and I said it earlier in this recording, but if you overlaid the documentary and the script, it's just
Mm-hmm.
the parallels are just uncanny. So,
Absolutely. I mean, also the one thing I do kind of want to note here too, which this could be very, very symbolic. If you look where Renia's body was in, where Kamel was at, Renia was right below her, like on her legs, or like
hmm
right. So I mean, could that be symbolic? I mean, if you're looking at the cult, that could be very, very symbolic of that part in the script. I mean, are we mentioning that part? If we mention it, then we spoil it.
Yeah, I think we have to spoil it. That's just,
Yes,
I think we have
yes.
to
eventually, but
eventually.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad at that. So I've been trying not to spoil it, but eventually it's
I mean, there's some. there's a lot of deeper things with the script, and I didn't get into every single one of them. It was very helpful to have
Oh yeah.
Catherine's help with this, but I would have loved to have everybody in our little circle, join in and give me their points too that they saw, because there were some things that I didn't see that Catherine saw,
Hmm.
and then William seeing even deeper things. So
I'm sorry.
I was looking for literal parallels, and he's looking for the deeper parallels.
Yeah, yeah, my bad.
It's
I
pretty
have a tendency.
interesting.
I'm sorry. I can't help that.
Nothing wrong with that. Just looking at page 161. He stands there. Daniel stands there, his eyes tearing, yet laughing. He's euphoric. Yeah, this is really weird. This is pretty much spoiling the whole thing here, but um, it, yeah, this is what we're talking about. These are This guy has a demon. He's got a demon. And he probably had it passed on from his father, from his grandfather.
From his grandfather, yeah.
Yeah, the whole family, and there's just a lot of that weird stuff happening there.
So the one thing I want to note now, I don't know if anybody caught this early on. So if you go so what page were we on there where it said the Simeon the bear? We get that image of that bear demon, right? If you go back to the very, very beginning, when Abner is speaking to the colonel,
Mm-hmm.
you see him basically say something along like, what was it? Have you ever captured, or like it was something about the bears, but have you ever captured one alive?
Mm.
So that
Yep.
comparison of the bear,
Yep.
boom, we got the bear. Abner caught the bear and he stuck it in his son. Hmm,
Hmm.
that's a little weird. So his son is possessed essentially. We're in cahoots. I mean, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it
creepy.
depends. It really depends. Like it depends on the demonology you've looked into. There's some where demons can work alongside. I mean, they're usually teachers. They'll offer you up knowledge, but what do? You offer up your body. You offer up bodies. Blood, whatever. They need to have something. And the longer they're there, I mean, they could just take you one day. You won't even know. Just gone. Like I said, depends on the demonology, and that's where it gets a little dark. But
Sure.
this is a dark ass script. So
Right.
when it comes down to it, I mean, I
Well,
think that
then
is mhm,
the same thing happened with Daniel and the demon chick at
exactly,
the end of the script
which I think
when
is the
she.
demon that I think that's the demon that the Abner had there with him. I think that's what happened, and basically it was like a transferring of power because he was aging. He was old. He
Mm,
was decrepit. I think that's the
okay,
whole
that's
point behind it. I think that's what it was just. It was just like a transfer. Which I mean, I've read and there's some circles that's something that apparently can do apparently through different rituals and all this demonic transfer. It's really really bizarre. Like I said, how true is it? I don't know. There's all sorts of rituals that very well are told to be true, but they're not. Depends. Like, I mean, I would definitely refer any of this straight. I would love to actually have an exorcist look at this and be like, hey, is this something that can actually occur? Can you read this and tell me these parts here? Is this actual ritual you guys have heard about or seen? Was it a rumor? Once again, just to kind of confer, where did they get this information from? Because was this something they made up? A lot of this doesn't seem like it's made up. Like these are actual, like it looks like rituals that have actually like existed. I mean, they just seem way too perfect for it.
No argument there. I'm gonna see if I can turn up my volume. Wow, my volume is like all the way up, so I do apologize for my low voice here. Um, I want to say hi to Cindy in our chat room. Thank you for joining us here. I know we got some other
Hello.
people. If anybody else wants to drop a chat or anything like that, we are definitely live. Um, and I will try to use my outdoor voice, my voice that I would use if I were at a wrestling show or at a baseball game or something like that, where I was heckling my team for not
Yeah, I'll be
doing
right
very
back.
well.
One sec, guys.
Sure. Take your time. So
Do
there
you want
we
to go on to the next one? Or
let's go ahead and go on to where are we at here? I believe we're at number 14 now. So I'm going to go back here to number 14. 14. Okay, the script. John looks
uh,
at Winona's funeral.
could we
Yeah, go ahead.
could we look at 13 real quick? I
Sure.
just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Uh, 13.1.
13.1. That's
The
yeah,
we covered that. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Okay, number 14.
Okay.
Sorry,
Number
folks.
14.
Carry
Number
on.
14. Okay, number 14. Using my big boy voice here. For the script, John looks at Winona's funeral scaffold and sees the clusters of her hair. Page 81. C.S. Camel's long dark hair clusters in the living room. There was a lot of hair in that living room. A lot of
Yes,
hair, right? Um,
yes,
I
there
think
was.
that's why a lot of
Even
some people were asking about wigs. Maybe there was a wig or something like that because there was so much hair.
or extensions or something because
Something, yeah.
it seemed like there was way too much hair for just one adult. And I'm I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Ronnie's hair was that long. It very well
I mean,
could
there
have
there
been.
definitely was some shorter dark hair too mixed in. But she also, it
But
didn't look like she was missing all of her hair either. It looked like she was missing just a little bit.
yeah, that's why I think the hair just really throws a lot of people off when they look at the pictures from the crime scene.
All right.
So
Um, okay.
that was definitely a parallel. I mean,
Yes, for sure. Number 15, the script. Daniel was 5 when he was abandoned. He said this to Kelly, that his foster mother said that he was dead for a while when the hospital staff found him on the curb. Page 100. Ronnie was 5 when she died. Interesting. Wow.
Mhm.
That's a big one.
hmm
That's a really big one right
yes,
there.
Well, you gotta remember too, he was dead for a while, but I mean, she didn't come back,
But did
correct.
but
as far
did
as we
I'm sorry.
but
know.
did he did he really come back, or is everything a dream from when he was 5 years old?
Holy crap!
And that's why
Oh my
him and
Holy
God.
crap!
John.
That's some Matrix level stuff.
I
Holy
can't
crap!
handle that right now.
We have some Neo revelations here,
Is this all a dream inside of a dead person that has been dead since 5 but came back to life just to
where
tell
the
you this story?
pills transferred before this.
Too funny. Okay. That's a good one. So look at that on page 100 for people
hmm
listening and watching this and reading the script. Number 16, why blood? Page 100 still. Why blood? Blood seems to be a nightmare theme for Daniel. The most notable thing about the crime scene is the blood on the wall and the bloody Allahu Akbar. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, especially when you consider how much occult themes are plaguing this script. I think that's a good word for it at least. And when it comes down to it, I mean, that's you look at all these rituals. What do they conduct? What do they use? Blood. Why is there so much blood? Bloodlines. What was it? Was it Solomon? I want to say it was Solomon. King Solomon, maybe it was King Abraham.
Yes.
One of those. Um, I mean, they were known for their rituals. When it came down to it, you look at the sacrificing to Baal, to Molech, to any of these other demonic entities, and yeah, that's directly what you see here. It's blood sacrificing. It was common. I mean, all the way back down to like Neanderthal days, they would even sacrifice, and what was it? It was blood. Blood is like the currency for the gods. So
There you go. Now, there's no blood writing in the script as far as we know, right? There's no.
no,
Okay. We didn't see that. Number 17 script, 5-year-old Daniel is struck in the back of the head with a lead pipe. I'm telling you, he's dead at 5. That's it. The rest of the story should just end right there. Probably even that body, even the
holy
body
crap,
that they find at the grove is probably him. It's
right?
probably his 5-year-old dead body. That's what it is. Okay.
Matrix
See,
level
I think
stuff, man.
Greg should be writing a script right now.
Yes, the counter
He could
grayscale.
totally do that.
And that's at the end
Counter
of page
grayscale.
160. Counter gray state.
Yours would be ended
The
at
Greg
page
state.
5.
Right. I'll just hack the whole thing. Why not? Put my name on it and kill my friends and blame them for murder.
Do it.
I
So
will do
David
that.
David had blunt force trauma to his skull. Okay, blunt force trauma to his skull. So there it is. So now I'm still. It makes more sense that skull piece. There was a skull piece that does have blunt force trauma. I think Catherine has really proved that. I mean, every time that I try to go back and relook at that, well, is it really? Is it really? Is it really there? It's a skull piece. I'm not convinced that it's David's or Kamel's either, but look at how long it took me to even convince myself
Yeah.
that there was a blunt force trauma. So don't fault me for
Well, I
that
mean,
if I'm a little slow.
you got to remember too. Any kind of blunt force. I mean, it could have been something that was prior too. He could have definitely taken a blow. He very well could have been hit right then and there. Sure. I'm not convinced it was any of those tools necessarily.
It looks like the butt of
Still
a
not.
gun. I mean, yeah, the butt
I mean, it
of
easily
a
could have been
gun
that.
is
It could have. I mean, there's all sorts of different things. It could have
sure.
also been previous trauma. I mean, he was in the military. I mean, even then, moving things around, you can slam your head into things. I mean, hard and bleed, and so I mean, it's very well, very well could have been just something previous.
It could have been
So
after death, I guess, too. I mean, it could have
that
been
too,
whatever, but there's
especially
definitely,
because I mean, look how much of his head was gone.
yeah, there's blunt force trauma there.
So,
Blunt force trauma is mentioned here. The character named Six is,
hmm
you know, he is the blunt trauma, whatever he calls him, the blunt lead pipe, basically. So a lot of weird stuff happening with this lead pipe.
you,
It would be interesting
you
to see what type of a marking a lead pipe would leave on a skull, and
Yeah,
to see how that matches up.
exactly. Well, another thing too to remember
especially
too,
if
this can very very. Mm-hmm.
no, go
I'll
ahead.
continue. It's fine. Okay.
Well, I mean, you
Oh,
can
oh.
put different things on a pipe too.
Yes.
You could put like those little arm thingies or elbow thingies. I I'm sorry, I'm not a plumber. I suck at this.
Oh, that's all good.
But
I'd be
you
saying the same
could
way.
add things. It doesn't have to be straight. So it very well could
hmm
be the object that was used.
Well, also, I mean, you got to think too that when it comes down to like just to kind of lead more on the occult side of things, you got to look like this to me comes off more like one of those Aztec rituals. If that is the case, hitting him in the head with a lead pipe, it looked like I'm not convinced necessarily that was to fully kill Daniel. It was enough to basically take him to the brink of death, or at least to coma or something. But obviously, we know that he was dead for a short while and then he came back. So I think that was strictly because of the demon, of course. But when it comes down to it, if you look at these occult rituals, smashing somebody even with a blunt object for human sacrifice, it's a common thing to smash the head in, or just to basically kill them that way. Either that or cut the head off. I mean, there's all sorts of different ways, but it's definitely you're going to kill them most likely with the blunt object. Is what basically the main goal you'll generally see. So.
He struck
I
in
could
the
have sworn it was
head.
the Aztec ritual for with like bashing them with like I think it was a giant club. You smash their head, and I believe is what that ritual was. So please, I think it was the rain god or whatever. So I was like, oh, yeah, you made it rain, all right, jeez.
Yeah, so he's smashed by his dad. Wow, his dad actually does the
hmm
lead
Mhm.
pipe beating when he's five
Daddy of
years
the
old.
year.
That's to um, that's to bring out that evil spirit, this evil demon that is inside of Daniel. That's what I
Yeah, I think
believe.
it's to kind of like not like I said, just to kind of knock him out though, because then it's that possession, that transfer should be a lot easier. I mean, hypothetically, based on this type of thing. So, like I said, I definitely feel like this needs to be reviewed by somebody that's like dealt with this sort of thing, like exorcists or some kind of a demonologist. I think that would be very very helpful for this.
It's
Just for the
crazy.
knowledge, of course.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
Of
Uh,
course.
Number 18, the Red Book, page 31. Then again in the redwood forest and throughout the rest of the script and blood symbolisms. the Quran center of this crime scene. The Quran center of this crime scene in blood written on the blood wall. So those are the parallels. The red book, yeah, the red book is pretty
Hmm.
interesting because there is a lot of weird stuff I know you guys have found on that red book and what the meaning of it is. And I mean, this is just a satanic script, and dealing with
Hmm.
some of these people that think that David Crowley is guilty. It's the same. There's some parallels there. I'll
Hmm.
just leave it at that. Uh,
If David had been working on the 2013 script when he died, I could see the official narrative. I could see it. It's like, okay, yeah, I could see him spiraling into darkness and losing his mind because this is dark. It's unsettling. But the 2014 script doesn't have any of this darkness. It doesn't
Hmm.
have that evil presence to it. It's not like this one. So I'm not buying their official narrative.
oh, it gets weirder. Number 19. I don't know how to pronounce this. Caput
Kaput
Dracon.
Draconis.
Caput Draconis.
Hmm.
Various places throughout the script. William, I know you've done some shows. I think on this specific quote from the script. I
The
remember
title,
watching.
yeah.
Yeah, watching one of your.
Well, it was yeah, it was definitely mentioned. We kind of went over it. In fact, I think we kind of focused on this like pretty heavily. Um, it comes down to like Latin and all this. I mean, we're talking about ancient spells and things like this. You're going to see Latin is going to be commonly used, but it's what it refers to, which is the dragon's head.
Mm,
So if we got it's as I know the full term is ego caput draconis, right? So that's the dragon's head. Um, and I know that what's his face, Simeon, like he didn't seem like he was too pleased by. I don't know what it was about it, but he didn't seem too pleased um, by some of the stuff with when it came to his son, because it almost seemed like I don't even know if it was necessarily like what he had in him was more powerful or not. But I don't want to get too much off topic, but I know that he seemed a little frustrated when talking about it. Um, but no, this is just basically it's a Latin. And when you see the dragon's head was that referred to, then that's where you get biblical and you start looking at like who's the dragon's head? Well, then you got Lucifer, you got the Antichrist. I mean, you got all these other kind of figures that can meet um, this kind of description. So
hmm And you have a lot of missing heads here in this story.
bingo.
So yeah, you got at least two there that are quote unquote missing.
Mhm.
Everybody's shot in the head. So yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff there. Um, Number 20, the script. Daniel didn't want to bring any children into the world that was going to be around him. Page 20. And then Kelly will make reference to it off and on. That's a big deal between a husband and a wife or between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. When you're thinking about that, it's definitely something I think we all think about. It's like, man, this world is crazy. Do you really want to bring a kid into this world? But obviously, I mean, children are a blessing, a complete blessing. So we're
Mm-hmm.
comparing that comment that Daniel and Kelly are having. That's a big reference too, especially at the very end of this script. That is a big, big point that comes into play at the very end of the script. Um, and we're comparing that with Kamel's friend. So David had made it very clear that he didn't want any more children. Which do you remember which friend that was? Was that Sarah or Heidi? Do you
That
remember?
was
It was
Johnson, I
Heidi.
believe, Sarah
It was
Johnson.
Heidi. Oh, it was Heidi.
I want to say it was Sarah. Was it Heidi? I could have sworn it was Sarah.
They do look
I
similar, by the
believe that
way.
it was
But
Heidi because Sarah was later in the script. She doesn't really
Ah,
appear until the birthday party.
gotcha.
okay.
I mean, not the script, the
Documentary.
documentary.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
document. Yeah,
Sorry.
we gotcha. Which is a script, by the way. It's a
Oh yeah.
it's a
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
very bad
Yeah.
script. I think of all the scripts that are tied to this
Yeah.
case,
They,
that is the worst one.
Maybe
Uh,
Danny August Mason wrote it.
yeah, it's Eric Nelson's. Probably
Collaborator.
explains a lot. Explains a lot.
Yeah, it's yeah. All those that were involved really just yeah, it's horrible, Horrible what they did. Horrible how they treated David Crowley
Hmm.
and Kamel. How they wanted to treat Kamel too. So I'm glad that there was a big backlash against Eric Nelson's film and all those people that were involved. Shame on all of you guys. Shame on all of you for blaming David Crowley for this. You're all full of shit
Absolutely.
and crap. Um, so yeah, so the friend said, Kamel,
It's not
David.
just my French.
This is your fault.
All
So
right.
you started French. Now we're all gonna speak French. So
All right. Let's
David
do it.
had made it very clear that
Baguette time.
he didn't want any more children. I guess I'll have to drink some red wine, some French wine, instead of some Spanish wine here. Okay, so that's at the 28 mark of the documentary. Yet at the end of the script, Daniel was happy to have a child with Kelly and wanted to find that child. And that is a huge, huge point right there. Because what happened with that child? We know that Daniel and
We
Kelly
don't know.
have a child, right?
Forced C-section.
There was a forced C-section. Was the child sacrificed at that point? Is
I
the
don't
child
think it
there?
was.
Is it somewhere? Is it
I
being
think
I
the
groomed
don't
I
think
think
it was
I think the child's gonna be groomed.
the same way Daniel was groomed in the script?
Yes.
because Simeon says, "Thank you for my grandchild."
Hmm.
And if
So
he
it's a
was going to
transfer the bear.
sacrifice it, I don't think he would have said that
No, I
right
think he was getting
instantly.
ready to transfer the bear.
That cycle, the
Probably,
cycle
yeah.
will continue maybe the way that Daniel was forced to slice his grandfather's throat. Maybe Daniel's son will be forced to slice Simeon's throat.
Hmm.
All right, number 21 here, the script. Daniel's right arm is useless due to being shot. Page 152 of the script, the Gray State script, page 152 of the 2013 Gray State script. David's right hand is missing, but why? Very interesting right there. So in the script, Daniel's character, which I think we all can agree it's loosely based on David Crowley, that that right arm is useless due to being shot, and David's right hand is quote unquote missing, according to the
Hmm.
crime scene documents. That's very interesting. That's a good one.
But why? I say trophy.
But why? Yeah, but why?
Trophy.
Trophy. What are you gonna do with that trophy? I mean, you can't put it on your wall.
Oh no, no, no. I mean that's the thing. I mean these are some sick people, and like I said, if we're talking about this being an occult-related crime,
Hmm.
this is related to, let's say, Freemasons or some other occult organization. Then we're looking at, yes. I mean they'll go and embalm it, or they'll do something to go and keep it, or maybe they just needed that for proof
Hmm.
that, okay, this occurred. We've got his fingerprints here. I mean, if you got Freemasons, let's be honest. How many Freemasons are going to be in the government? There's probably quite a few, right? So they can quickly get the fingerprints run, make
Hmm.
sure. But then, of course, I mean, like I said, as a trophy, just to have it. Hey, look, we did this. We took care of this guy here. I'm curious as to about how many other people out there that were missing body parts that were basically against these guys, and how many body parts or things like this are they missing? Because I mean, if they are missing the same thing, it could be the same hand, it could be the same. It could be maybe just a body part, just to go and confirm. I mean, you see this. This is a typical thing. Like with hitmen and stuff, they also do this as well. They'll take a body part piece. It's more often than not they'll take a picture and send it. But once again, it's going to be Polaroid at that point. They're not going to go and send it via text. So I don't think that's the case. I think this is definitely, we're going to cut this off. We're going to send it to this person or get it to them and drop it off for them, so that way they know, okay, they did it. They took care of it. This is a hand. This is what it was requested. But that's usually how it works. It's usually somebody will request, okay, I want you to go and get me this person's hand, or these two hands for this person, maybe an arm for this person, just to confirm things. Make it a little more like difficult. You're gonna tonight, if you did this, then you need to go and retrieve all these things.
Right. Okay.
So just as proof, because I mean, if you just do a hand off everybody, and it's like, okay, great, we have three hands here, but I mean, that'd be way easier, or an eyeball or something. You got DNA right there. You guys can go run that. But once again, it's also as a trophy. So sick people out there.
Very sick. Let's see. Number 22, the script. Dragon says to Daniel, "Consider how much you'd weigh without arms or legs." Page 45. A weird thing to say to somebody. Rania is missing an arm. And David is missing his right hand and head, and Camel's missing her head and both hands. That is pretty creepy. Dragon is a very interesting character. I think that was H.T. Altman's character, too. I'm pretty sure that that's the character
Mhm.
from the 2012 trailer. You know, if I were to cast anybody in this dragon role, he
H.T.
would be
Altman.
the
Who is that again?
so he's in the Gray State trailer. He's the bad guy. He's the only bad guy that is really shown. Not really shown that much either. But um, yeah, look him up.
Oh, I
Definitely
see him.
look him up.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like a bad guy.
Yeah,
Just straight up, he looks bad.
he plays that role well. I think
He is that role.
he is that role. That is your role. You were born to play this role.
You're born to be a murderer.
Wouldn't go that far, but okay.
Okay. I just looked at his IMDb, and I'm gonna be honest. Him laying in that bed in that movie on that movie Chast, he looks like Hunter Biden. Ugh. Yep, bad guy. Bad guy. Holy crap.
It's just a weird.
Parallels.
That's a
That is
weird.
a parallel.
Check out page 45 there too. Number 23, the script. A knife is used throughout the script. In one scene,
Mhm.
6 use it to search Daniel's leg wound. Page 51. And we know that a knife was found by David's leg. Pretty interesting there. All right, that's very interesting. And yeah, the knife there at the crime scene has always been another one of those for me. Like why? Like why? You know, if they're, I don't know. It's just weird. It's a very weird thing. Nobody's gonna just have a knife open. David's not gonna
Right.
have a knife open if he's doing all of this killing and stuff like that, unless there was some cutting going on,
Yes.
which obviously they don't want to give the knife any credit. All the credit goes to that dog. No credit
Oh
goes to
yes.
to the
He couldn't have cut off his own hand.
the
No, no,
dog.
no,
Maybe,
no,
maybe the
no. No, of
dog
course he
used
did.
that
Let's
knife.
be honest. He
um,
shot him too while he's at it.
and covered it all up and put one leg
Right.
under his blanket and the other one
Licked up
over
all the
the blue
blood.
blanket. So
You know.
let's go.
That's
Let's
some BS, dog. Come on.
Here's number 24 on the script. Daniel is going between reality and hallucinations. He doesn't know what is real. It is stated that David, quote unquote, snapped, although the 2013 script is not the version that David was working on. This script had been scrapped, and he had created a completely different version that did not have demons or possessions or satanic elements in it. It was more dystopia, NWO, and revolutionary, not the version that the GS guys thought he was engrossed in. Great points there.
Hmm.
That's another one. It's another great point
Hmm.
here. The hallucinations makes me think of how they were saying David was. What was that? What was the name of the drink that they keep bringing up that David was
Absinthe.
drinking? Yeah, and that makes you crazy. It makes you do all this weird stuff, even though all that it did was make him call one of his former soldier friends, and they talked for hours, and then he asked his friend to get rid of all of their everything that they had talked about during that. He told him that later on you will understand why. Very weird
Well,
things that.
here's my thing. See,
Yep.
so we never really got to find out was there any absinthe bottles or anything residue even.
Oh,
And that's exactly my point. There's nothing there. So if he was such an avid absinthe drinker, like he's being portrayed out to be, why wasn't there any absinthe?
correct.
Hmm.
There's none. You don't see it in any of the photos.
Hmm.
And I've made this point before. They photographed the marijuana to prove that David was using, and he went psycho because of it and killed his wife and child. If there was
I still.
alcohol in that house, they would have photographed it. They would have
Hmm.
had it in the report saying there was
Hmm.
lots of alcohol, or we found half a bottle of Jack, or whatever like that.
Oh
They
yeah.
would have
Oh yeah.
found it to
Well, on
make their
top of that, I
case.
mean, well, even then, I mean, trying to go and make that whole case, it's like It's like, do these cops are they like avid watchers of Reefer Madness? I mean, come on. I mean, this is some BS here. The hallucinations. I've never heard of anybody smoking pot unless it was laced with something and hallucinating, just tripping balls. I've never heard of that ever. And I'm in Oregon, for crying out loud. Everybody here says I don't, but everybody else pretty much smokes. I mean, it's like, what? You can ask any of them. Unless it's laced, you're not tripping balls. You just like relax. You get hungry. Maybe there's different side effects, of course, but nothing to that extreme.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think the cops are living way back in the early 1900s, watching that Reefer Madness.
Are you there, Greg?
I am. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to get back on my main feed.
Okay.
No worries. And just to say something, since we have a little time in between, I did find I went and looked up occult rituals involving hair. I mean, we've even got some government files that actually talk about it. Anywhere ranging from Satanism to hoodoo voodoo ingredients, and then we've got, of course, other kinds of ceremonies, of course. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff when it comes to occult involves that. So just want to throw that out there too. I figured it was notable. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, it's getting later and later.
No, I get you. It's no worries.
And we're still close.
Yep. We have just like, how many more points do we have?
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so where are we at? 24, right? Oh no,
Yes.
we did
25.
24.
Yeah.
We're on 25. Okay. David is angry and tells Kelly that love is only a chemical reaction, and he didn't want to hear about the soul, quote unquote, bullshit. Kelly says maybe that is what death is, a chemical reaction. That's on page 130. Yeah, it gets really deep. I mean, the way their relationship really turns right then. But let's compare that to, it is said that David and Kamel formed a bond in death because they couldn't live without life or the life they saw coming. Oh, we're back to the pack theory. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. There we
Yes.
are.
A fun one.
Oh boy.
Well, because it's not
This
just
is the easiest one to
about
take apart.
the script. It's about, it's not just about the documentary.
Hmm.
Paralleling with the script is the official narrative that went along with the documentary that parallels with the script.
It's true. Hmm.
Well, yeah, because you had both those narratives that were kind of being shot at the exact same time, and basically, it's whichever one sticks with people, that's what people are going to go with. Um, I mean, that's the thing. I still don't see how that's even a thing. Like, for crying out loud. I mean, even the mom, David's mom, was heavily skeptical on that.
Hmm.
So I don't. No, it's not a thing.
Well, the way that they made her comment sound, David's mom sound, the way that they made it sound was that was my first. That was the first time that I ever thought, oh, maybe there was a pack theory. Like, does a mom think that there was a pack theory? Because that's the way that that comment reads. This is why it would be good to get the actual recordings or the statements from these people that are in those documents, not just the police summary of what they said, what this person said. Obviously, it'd be even better to talk with those people who were there and, who the cops actually talked to. Um, that would also be, great too. But obviously, with David's mom, that's not possible. But so that has been, I've seen people interpret that two ways. Either that helps the pack theory, or that shows that David's mom did not think that David was guilty. I think I could probably make an argument for both of them, for both of it. But we know if we go back to that pack theory, we know that there's absolutely no way that that could be possible. Even the cops don't believe that there was a pack theory. So only certain people that want to make money off of David's project and people that have no
Mhm.
life of their own. Um, so I don't think anybody's buying that pack theory. Then we have people who have like Hendricks, who first said that there was a pack theory, then kind of changed his mind and said that there wasn't. So you have that too. You know, we kind of have people who are kind of going back and forth
Oh, there we go.
on
I
this pack theory.
can
So,
hear you guys again.
oh, you left us. All right, that's fine. That's cool. We're on number
Yeah,
26
it literally,
here.
like, all the audio just dropped. So
Oh, that's twice, man. What's going on? Something we said.
I have no idea.
All right, number 26, the script. David's right arm is useless during being shot. Okay, I think we covered that one. So
Yeah,
that
we already
might be
covered that.
okay. Alrighty.
We're on 28.
We're on 28. Okay.
Well, wait, no. Sorry, 27.
No, I think you're right. Well, 27 is kind
No,
of
I mean, well, kind of. I mean, is
yeah.
it possible Camille?
Okay. No, you're right because yeah, 27. Kelly was beat in the head with a lead pipe. Everybody's getting beat with a lead pipe. This happens to
Dragging the
Daniel
mask.
twice. Yeah, this guy he doesn't know how to use a gun or anything else. He's
Come on, why
walking
does it
with
be
a
a
lead
pipe?
pipe.
Why can't it just be like a baseball bat?
Yeah,
Jeez.
that just shows torture, which there's
Yeah.
evidence of crime scene torture at that crime scene too. The way that the bodies are. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you can see, okay, hit over the head with a lead pipe, and her blood is all over Dragon, page 160 to 162. David suffered multiple blunt force trauma, but is it possible Kamel did as well? I mean, I would think so. If her head is missing too, it's not just from gunshots. There has to be more. That's what I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, only two more here. Okay. Um, 28. Daniel and John have a spiritual and a metaphysical discussion throughout the script in Daniel's dreams. Gray State Doc at the 1 hour mark, 2 minutes, I believe. Joseph Seaton says that he moved back to Minneapolis in 2014 and he would have spiritual conversations with David. Side note, David had already started his new version of the script, and all of the quote unquote spiritual and metaphysical topics were removed from the new script. In the documentary, at the 1 hour, 3 minute, 51-second mark, Tom Lydon says, I think people lean on the supernatural when they can't understand things that they are experiencing and feeling. And it's easier to believe that they are being chased by some kind of metaphysical spirit when they're really being chased by their own problems. That guy, yeah, Tom Lydon is just, I mean,
He's a Linda.
go ahead.
That was one of the shittiest statements I heard out of that whole documentary.
Yeah, that was
I
bad.
mean, talk about
Oh,
throwing them
absolutely.
under the bus. After manipulating recordings that they
Mm-hmm.
did in their own private setting, they took and cut and pasted those recordings to
Mm-hmm.
make them sound crazy. And then they created a whole documentary to make them sound crazy. And then that was the nail in the coffin
Mm-hmm.
right there. I mean, wow. Could you be any more of a bigger piece of shit? Sorry, folks.
Right? It's all good. We're all speaking French here.
Guess so. C'est la vie. And he doesn't really back any of these things up either. He's just,
Mm-mm.
kind of like, I
Mm-mm.
think this, and it's just like, well, is that your job? I mean, I thought you were an investigator. Like, you have all these documents to investigate, but you're not doing any investigating? What type of investigator does that? I think there's another word that we call people like that, and we don't call them investigators, definitely.
We called him a fraud.
Call them a fraud. There you go.
Call them
There's
propagandists.
propagandists.
Yes,
There's
that
many
too.
of those. Many of those
Leftist.
still running
Oh,
around.
whoops.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
weird. That was really weird. Last one here. Last one, and then we will shut this down here pretty soon. But
Home stretch.
I do want to thank everybody for joining us. And again, if you have any last comments, anyone in the chat room, please feel free to go ahead and add those comments in there. Point number 29. I find it interesting that the notebook on the computer desk has all the notes for the 2013 script. Coincidence that it was just sitting out by the computer and supposedly David scribbled submit to Allah now on it. Someone was flipping through it. We have absolutely no idea what the submit message was written. Who knows? The phrase could have been written at different times. So, I'm sorry, let me read that again. We have absolutely no idea when the submit message was written. Who knows? The phrase could have been written at different times. Yeah, very good point there with those two. Um, yeah, the notes
Well,
for the
and see, if you
2013
look
script
at,
are very,
I
very
mean, if you were to
interesting.
look at,
Go ahead.
well, see, and the thing is, it brings this up just a little bit. We don't know when it was written, who it was written by, yada yada yada. Because you look at it, and I'm breaking this down. I'm still me, so I can find my notes for it. But when it comes down to it, like we don't even know if that was an N or a V. So in the submit to Allah now, right? On that little notebook there, that could have easily been submit to Allah vow. So, I mean, you can even look it up. There's definitely it's a promise. It's a promise to Allah, promising to submit to Allah. Um, even if you, I just quickly looked it up. You look up submit to Allah vow on Google even, and there's all these promises to submission to Allah. So I think there's that. I think it's definitely a very good possibility. This is what it was actually written. Is that the line making it at the end? To me, it looks like that was done after. It really does. And it's just if you were to look at just like the everything about this, it looks like a V. And I already broke down his entire alphabet. Like I think that I'm only missing one letter in his alphabet, which I believe is a Q. In fact, I can send that to you in a bit. But when it comes down to it, it's like it does not. It looks more like the V than it does the N. Let me see. Did I do this already?
It's kind of a
I'm gonna
weird
be nice.
way.
I'm gonna give you a clip real quick. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
And this is directly coming from the video I'm making. So I'll send it over Facebook real quick. It's I broke down. I literally was taking snippets from every last bit of everything he had written on, and we can confirm those are his letters. This is how he writes. There it is. Downloads. There it is. Here you go. It's a PNG, so it'll come up looking a little funky, but I broke it down. I took from everything I possibly could, and when it definitely see, like you can see the E right there. That's definitely the same E that's on the refrigerator. But the N doesn't necessarily line up.
The N is a little odd. Now, if you look at here on the notepad, the NYPD does kind of look similar to that. On the notepad, on this document, it would be page 10 of
Yes.
24, but it does kind of look like similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, submit to
There's a
Allah.
few instances.
Yeah.
There definitely are. And like I said, I'm not saying it definitely isn't, but it definitely. I'm questioning the hell out of it
I could
because
see why. I could definitely see why, because yeah, it's a weird way to write it in.
right.
But
Yeah, you're making the V and then a line, or a line and then a V. It's kind of weird.
it's weird. That threw me off.
Okay, guys, I'm going to
Okay.
have to jump off.
Okay, I think we're
All right.
wrapping it up here. That's it. If anybody has any final words, we have covered all 29 points. Stayed on
Mm-hmm.
topic. We did a great job. So, you guys have any final points before I shut this down?
No, not really.
Read the script. I want you
Good
to
point.
read the 2013 and then the 2014, so you can definitely see that David was not what the Grave State guys and the journalists all described. He did not get lost in a deep depression in his work and get all warped and everything. That's not what the 2014 script that he was selling to the mics was about.
Very good
So
point.
you were being conned, and I would love for you to please read these scripts and then rewatch the documentary so you can understand what we're talking about. Because so much
Mhm.
disinformation is out there, being spewed. And these might actually answer some of your questions.
Amen.
Well, on top of that, I would also suggest if when you look at the crime scene again, review the script. Take a
Yes.
look. You're going to see things. And I mean, I'm not saying look at the 2014 script. Look at the 2013 script.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to definitely see some things, and it's not coincidental. I can guarantee you, it's not coincidental. That's way too much coincidence. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't happen like this. It doesn't. Coincidence never lines up that perfectly.
That's it.
I kind of expected maybe one or two parallels. I did not expect
Right.
this many.
Oh, and we all know there's definitely more too, for sure. Well, I'm sure we're going to find more at least. So.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
There will be more.
Okay, folks.
All right, folks. Until next time, I'm going to shut this down. God bless you all, and thank you all for listening to this and watching
And have a
this
good
special. That's right.